I actually do have some good news for you guys. Are you aware of the fact that Twitter has gone woke yet again? As of just a few days ago, Twitter has reinstated its anti-misgendering policy that was dropped last year, which is really funny. This is a lot of people are quite angry about this. I'm sorry. I saw literally just this morning I saw tweets of like Tim Pool and the Quartering saying they were no longer going to run ads on Twitter because it's it's woke again or something like that. So they had a policy that started back in 2018 that Elon Musk revoked because, of course, being able to misgender people is like a biological truth or something, whatever else. It's something like that. I don't know. The conservatives rave. Unfortunately for Twitter, the ad space on the website right now is somewhere between blighted and apocalyptic. I don't know about you guys, but the ads that I get on Twitter at this point are literally 100% AI bot drop shipping with no exceptions. I get at this point now, when I get an ad that says play Kingdom Rush, and then there's a fake ad of a bunch of zombies being shot from a gun and it's all fake or whatever, that's a breath of fresh air compared to the ads that I normally get. It's has anyone else seen over and over again the same ad of this awful looking brown ribbed shirt for a man that has it looks like knitted almost, and it has a patched elbow, and it's got a sort of a Henley collar? They have the same image over and over and over again, and you can't block it either because these ads are being bought out by blue check bots that look like real people, but they're fake. They're not corporate accounts. So if you block one, more of them come out. There's maybe an actual unlimited number of them, so you can't block all of them. There's no way around it. Those are the kinds of ads that you're getting now on Twitter. It's a pretty bad situation, so I'm not surprised. You have to be more and more careful about stuff like this because one of the things that made Twitter really special compared to other social media sites was that Twitter was always very egalitarian, not in the culture of the site, but in the design of the site, meaning that on Twitter, a politician could post and then get ratioed or quote tweeted into oblivion by random people called poop balls, there was something about Twitter that really made it feel very democratic because you basically, there was nothing systemically separating the poster from the replier. Every tweet under a tweet is its own tweet, if that makes any sense. And if you do a Facebook post or an Instagram post, a comment under that Facebook or Instagram post is just a comment. But a tweet replying to or quote tweeting another tweet is itself a full tweet that has all the same powers in terms of its ability to be liked or retweeted or whatever else. Meaning that, yeah, there was a pretty big equalizer there. You understand what I'm talking about, right? That force, that factor is a big part of what people liked about Twitter, and it doesn't really work anymore because now that Twitter is a hellscape filled with bots and right-wing reactionary pundits, it doesn't have that same anything goes attitude, And what that means is celebrities and politicians are less likely to use it freely. Now that there are more celebrities and politicians who are either trans or pro-trans, the ability to misgender somebody consistently on Twitter isn't just a regular harassment issue. It's not just a complying with hate speech legislation in the in the European Union kind of issue. It's also why the would people want to use this site for any kind of publicity work if this is allowed? The language that was used in the updated policy says, quote, Twitter will reduce the visibility of posts that purposefully use different pronouns to address someone other than what that person uses for themselves, or that use a previous name that someone no longer goes by as part of their transition. So fully, just we will shadow list your shit if you misgender or use dead names on a person, which is actually pretty direct and solid as protection for trans people go. Elon Musk, truly a woke warrior. This article talks a lot about GLAAD, the Gay Lesbian Alliance Against Discrimination, and the efforts that they've made towards, pro-trans TOS. Chat, I see the damn update. Stop what you're spoiling. You think I'm gonna jump to the next kick because you see chat. Oh, he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know about this new thing. Well, time only moves in one direction. Maybe it will take me a little bit to set up this information before we talk about the next information. I look at chat. Is it Glad? Is it Glad? I looked on Wikipedia and it said Glade. Is it Glad? Because Glad makes more sense to me, but I saw it on on Wikipedia, and the pronunciation thing had the AE. AE. It's just Glad? Glade? Glade? Glady. Anyway. Whoop! Elon Musk's Twitter has already backed off its new anti-trans hate policy. I assume the reason this change was made was because the ad revenue situation at Twitter is really bad right now. I cannot imagine. Apparently you can buy ad space on Twitter for basically nothing at the moment. Like it's borderline free. So I can't imagine things are going down very well at the moment over there. Remember when the was it Daily Wire that spent $1 million to have that anti-trans mini documentary put to the top of the recommended trending thing for one day? PragerU. It was PragerU. Thank you. Do you have any idea how cheap $1 million is for being pinned to the top of a massive social media website for a day? Do you have any idea? You can't do that on Facebook or whatever. Do you have any idea how cheap that is? That's nothing. It's free. And it didn't even lead to that much from them. Anyway, they've already backed off their new policy. No more woke Elon. It was fun while it lasted. On Thursday, Twitter updated its abuse and harassment policy to add a new section called Use of Prior Names and Pronouns. And then it made the changes we talked about. However, over the past 24 hours, this new policy has already been changed. And the update completely alters how the policy is enforced. Here are the original terms of the new policy first reported last Thursday. We will reduce the visibility of posts that purposefully use different pronouns to address someone other than that which they use for themselves, or that use a different name that someone no longer goes by as part of their transition. Given the complexity of determining whether such a violation has occurred, we must always hear from the target to determine if a violation has occurred. So it's weirdly, it only can come into effect if the person who's been dead named or misgendered does the report themselves. Obviously, this is dumb and bullshit, but okay, sure. Here are the updated terms of the new policy, with the new wording bold and italicized by Mashable. Where required by local laws, we will reduce the visibility of posts that purposefully use different pronouns to address blah, blah, blah. There it is, the European Union, baby. Let me tell you what happened here. Something that I can say with, basically, total guarantee. Something that I know for absolute sure, okay? Twitter's staff beg Elon, please, we are going to get in so much trouble if we don't make this change. We are literally not in compliance with the EU legislation, whatever else. Please, God. So Elon begrudgingly allows the rolling out of this policy. But then Elon gets pressured by a bunch of far-right accounts like Chaya Raichik, who are arguing with him on Twitter. I saw a bunch of posts where he was trying to explain to these reactionaries no, it's fine actually. And then he has it changed to this. Now, can somebody explain to this? Can somebody explain to me what this actually means? We're required by local laws? What does that mean? If this is an EU compliance thing, any allowance of transphobia would be a blanket problem for the site. Twitter isn't a bunch of buildings in a bunch of different countries. If it happens anywhere on the site, then that is it happening. It's not compartmentalized based on the country. This thread isn't available in your area. Exactly, yeah. The addition of those 5 words makes it clear Twitter will only reduce the visibility of these anti-trans posts if the law of a particular country requires it. The policy will not affect users outside of those countries. Okay, chat, to be clear, legislation in the EU, when it comes to there being necessary provisions for protecting people from hate speech, don't only take effect if those protections aren't present for people from their own countries. Or to put it another way, the European Union won't give the thumbs up on Twitter allowing transphobia in Brazil. That's not how that works. All of Twitter is accessible to everyone who uses Twitter. If a country requires there be anti-misgendering laws, that would apply to the entire platform, not just users from the European Union. Not necessarily it can be just blocked out. Will it be? So, but it's not even saying blocking it. It's saying reduce the visibility of posts. So is what Elon Musk suggesting that the plan will be that if an American says something transphobic to another American, what they will do to amend that is make that transphobia shadow banned to accounts from the EU. Is that correct? I think so. If that's actually the direction they, first of all, I don't think that's going to happen at all. I don't think this change was actually going to be enforced like ever. I think the only reason they put this in was basically as a legal virtue signal because the standards of enforcement here are really like opaque. So I didn't think this was going to happen anyway. Isn't that what they do with Nazi posting and visibility in Germany? To an extent, yes. But at the same time, do you think Twitter is currently capable of enforcing a big, broader network of like EU-specific enforcement for instances of transphobia? Where it blocks it to like the like this to me, this, if anything, I feel like they're binding themselves more because now, rather than there being some general vague set of rules that are really opaque, now they would have a clear contrast where they could determine whether such a thing had happened based on comparing how EU and non-EU residents are looking at the same instance of transphobia. I don't know. It seems dumb to me. Maybe I just don't get it. Oh, hey, look, Lance featured in Mashable. This is what happens with Pornhub and other websites. Yeah, but they're not even saying it'll be blocked, only that its visibility will be reduced. I understand that it's not technically impossible to do the things that I'm describing. I'm saying that the logistics of doing it seem difficult and unlikely to pan out. Musk tried to temper concerns, assuring users like Chaya Raichik of the anti-LGBTQ account Libs of TikTok that they were, quote, not going to get suspended. However, Musk was not successful in calming his right-wing fanbase. Influencers like YouTuber Tim Pool soon threatened to stop advertising on the platform over the anti-trans harassment policy. I will be terminating all ad spending commitments and verified accounts over X, reinstating the misgendering policy. Musk replied to a few of Pool's complaints specifically. Imagine being the wealthiest man on earth and your day job being like patting down the egos of the worst humans alive on your platform. Turns out this was due to a court judgment in Brazil. Brazil? Oh, I randomly mentioned Brazil earlier. This is all from Brazil, not the EU? Then what are they doing about EU compliance? Because that's still an issue, like a broader hate speech issue. He's so cucked. He really is. What's that court case then? Brazil misgendering. From the extremely reliable website, The Washington Examiner. Thank you, The Washington Examiner. No, thank you. Likely in reference to Brazil's Supreme Court ruling from August 2023 that homophobic slurs were punishable by prison. 9 of the 10 Supreme Court judges found that homophobic slurs fell under the South American country's law against racial slurs, which are also a punishable offense. Okay. I remember hearing about this. So why the f would he be putting this change into action over a Supreme Court ruling that happened like 9 months ago? I guess like 7 or 8 months ago. We covered this. Brazilian journalist ordered to pay fine for misgendering trans-identified male influencer. Oh, Feminist Current. This is a turf rag. I see. Wait, is it? Quote-unquote misgendering trans-identified male. That's literally Tim. Is that turf or not? Are they a trans man or a trans woman? Trans-identified male. Okay, it's a turf. Yeah, it's turf. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Yeah, trans-identified male. They literally have like a slur for it. Look at all the quotation marks around this. A Brazilian journalist has been found guilty of transphobia after addressing a trans-identified male influencer convicted of causing moral damage to a trans-identified male influencer using the word cara, which can mean guy. Madeline Lexo was ordered to delete her tweets and pay 3,000 reais, over $500. The influencer, who goes by the name Rebecca Gaia, with the Bitcoin donation right here. Thanks, Feminist Current. Really running at the forefront of women's interests. Slightly more legitimate news site. The court had ruled in 2019 that homophobia was a crime, just like racism. Okay, yeah, so homophobia and then transphobia. Nice. Anyway, I don't think this change in Twitter should be seen as like a sign of anything meaningfully changing for the long term. It's like it's just another instance of him desperately waffling in an effort to cover his ass against like legal issues while also catering to the community he cares about, which is Nazis. You know, it's not like I don't think it's any more complicated than that. Yeah, but it was a good meme. If anything, it speaks to incompetence. Can you imagine like rolling out a new terms of service requirement in reference to a Supreme Court ruling in Brazil that happened more than half a year ago, and then still having to hastily change the wording of it 3 days after the fact because you got bullied by Tim Pool on Twitter? Man, it just reminds me of the good old days of Twitter's I guess like having been taken over by Musk, when it felt like every day Musk's job was to go online and explain to Cat Turd why he had his best interests at heart. You know, like that Elon, the wealthiest man in the world, would wake up anxious about what Cat Turd had to say about him that day. The EU has just started to look into Twitter legally. It makes more sense for that timeline. It is also possible that he's just lying about it being about the Brazil thing, you know, that he's trying to play it off. He does like lying. As of November 22nd, the European Union is pulling its advertisements from Twitter, citing an alarming increase in hate speech and disinformation. In December 18th, 2023, the EU investigates Twitter over potential violations of social media ruling concerning the hate speech or incitement of violence, allegedly breaking these rules. It's difficult to know when stuff like this will pan out. I really like how Elon Musk looks like shit now. So anytime there's a close-up picture of him, he has a horrible beard, so it never looks like he's going for a scruffy look. It just looks like he looks like shit, you know? He looks like shit all the time now. Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, he looks like he has dirt on his face. That's true. Do you think Elon is happy? No, I don't think Elon is happy at all. I think he's probably remarkably unhappy.